Today's video is brought to you by Storyblocks. There's a reason Photographic Styles looks so good on the iPhone 16s. Well, a couple of reasons. The genius of it is, you don't have to understand its inner workings in order to get great results from it. But it will certainly answer some questions, like why sometimes you swear that amber, gold, and rose gold look exactly the same. There's certainly a lot more to Photographic Styles than being just a filter, and I'll unpack all about it in this video, including what exactly each of these controls do. On the iPhone 16 lineup, there are two distinct categories of photographic styles: undertones and moods. Undertones are the ones on the left and moods on the right. It might not seem like it, but undertones and moods actually work in completely opposite ways when there's a person in your photo. When we take a photograph on our iPhones, one of the processes it performs is called image segmentation. This is the phone trying to understand the content of the image, and part of that involves identifying which pixels contain our subject. For the case of our undertone category of photographic styles, it applies a consistent base look to the overall image, and specifically for our subject's skin tones, it applies a color unique to that photographic style. This is because the whole purpose of undertones is to let us fine-tune the appearance of skin tones. The amber, gold, and rose gold styles appear to share a similar base look, which gives the overall image a warmer tone. Note how when I switch between these three styles, only the skin tones of the subject are rendered differently. The rest of the scene is unchanged. Amber gives me richer orange skin tones, gold gives it a touch more green and yellow, while rose gold swings it to its green and magenta. In a similar fashion, the cool rose and neutral styles also appear to share the same cool tinted base look, with variations only between skin tones. So if there are no skin tones present in the image, some of these undertones are going to look exactly the same, especially if the subject of your photo is not a person. I didn't shoot this clip, by the way. I've actually never even seen the Golden Gate Bridge before in person, but it's in my B-rolls because I downloaded it from Storyblocks. And as much as I enjoy shooting my own B-roll, it really takes a lot of time if you want it to look good. When we make videos like this for the internet, it is important for us to get it out as quickly as possible, but it's also tough to not sacrifice quality to achieve that. Storyblocks has been a real upper hand for me when it comes to creating videos faster, but also better. Aside from the Golden Gate Bridge shot, which would have been impossible for me to capture myself, many of the animations I'm using in this video are also motion templates I got from Storyblocks. That social handle animation that's been in the end of all my videos since the year 2020, that's also from Storyblocks. These have been massive time saves, because each animation would have otherwise been hours of work. Best part is, you get unlimited downloads with a monthly or annual subscription from a library of over 1 million 4K or HD clips, thousands of motion templates, but it also includes music, sound effects, and images, all for just one subscription. There's an official plugin for Adobe Creative Cloud, and that lets you access the entire Storyblocks stock library from within Premiere Pro and After Effects, which saves you even more time. Also, anything you download from Storyblocks is 100% royalty-free. The licenses are granted in perpetuity, meaning they never expire, and they'll even whitelist your channel on YouTube to reduce the likelihood of claims. To get started with unlimited stock media downloads at one set price, head to storyblocks.com/ZYProductions or click the link in description. Now, the photographic styles categorized as moods. I describe them to work in the complete opposite way as undertones because these moods, instead of targeting skin tones, they are designed to apply a look to the entire image except your subject's skin. So undertones fine-tune your skin tones, moods try to leave your skin tones alone. I've chosen to show this in action with the luminous photographic style because the base look of luminous is this strong purple cast over your image, and that's quite the opposite of what you typically want skin tones to look like, unless you're into Thanos cosplay. But see as I cycle the look of the photographic style on and off, notice how it affects the entire scene while trying to leave my skin tones alone. It does let a little bit of that purple seep onto me to help sell the effect, otherwise the skin tones would stick out too much and look unnatural. But what's even more impressive about this is Photographic Styles doesn't simply preserve anything in your frame so long as it's got the color of skin tone. It only applies to the subject, and it's very intelligent about that, thanks to the image segmentation we talked about earlier. I put this theory to the test by taking a photo alongside a stick of makeup in my shade, which means it matches my skin tone exactly. When we go ahead and apply Photographic Styles, notice how it's affecting my skin and the stick of makeup in completely different ways, even though they are the exact same color. It's also here you can see exactly just how much Photographic Styles is helping to preserve skin tones. You might wonder then how this comes into play with the two photographic styles on the far right, because those are black and white styles. It's a lot more visible with the stark black and white style, because for the rest of the image, this look increases the contrast quite dramatically, but when it comes to the subject, it does so to a much lesser extent. This avoids crushing or blowing out details on the subject while still delivering that punchy black and white look. So in essence, Photographic Styles achieves the final look by applying different degrees of adjustments to specific, consciously defined areas of your image. It's quite remarkable how it's as easy to apply as a filter, but the work that goes on behind it is comparable to a post-production workflow involving masking and selective adjustments. Thanks to our iPhone's powerful A18 processors, this is something you can even preview in real time, though a key benefit of this newer generation of photographic styles is the fact that you can still fully customize them even after you've taken the picture, and this has opened up a whole new way we now edit photos on iPhone. Once we select a photographic style, there's a grid-like control and a slider. The slider controls the value for palette, and palette is what makes each photographic style unique. You can think of it as the actual creative look that's being applied by that specific style, and the palette slider controls the strength of this look. On the grid, moving the dot from left to right changes the value of color. When you increase it towards the right half of the grid, it behaves almost like a vibrance setting. This means it selectively boosts the colors which are more muted, while boosting the already bright colors less to avoid oversaturating them. In this example, the red table is already quite saturated, so it gets boosted less, while the less vibrant coffee and cake get boosted more. When we decrease the colors by moving the dot towards the left half, it then mutes all colors evenly. The up and down axis on the grid controls tone. This affects the balance between the bright and dark areas of your image. It actually applies two different tone curves to your image depending on whether your dot is in the top half or bottom half of the grid. In the top half, moving the dot upwards actually brightens the overall image for a high key look, which includes elevating the shadows. It tries to preserve your highlights while lifting the midtones and shadows. In the lower half, the tone response changes to increasing your overall contrast as you drag downwards. This means dark areas of your image become darker and bright areas get brighter. So you can think of this as making your image more high key as you pull up and higher contrast as you go down. With just 3 simple parameters, we're able to craft a fairly sophisticated look with photographic styles. One thing I truly appreciate about this is how widely compatible photographic styles is. It works in night mode, it works in portrait mode, and even works in the 48 megapixel HEIF max modes. The only situations in which I found myself unable to use photographic styles is when I'm shooting in ProRAW, as well as when I'm doing a high-speed burst by holding down the volume button. You'll also want to make sure that your iPhone's capture format is set to high efficiency in order to make edits to your photographic styles after capture. If it's set to most compatible or JPEG mode, you'll still be able to apply a photographic style during capture, but it will be baked in, meaning you can't tweak it afterwards. But next time you fire up photographic styles on your iPhone, it'll sure be quite fascinating just how much work our iPhones have been doing.